Hello everyone, this is Hadrian. Thank you for watching. Let's play some more of our tutorial in Civilization 5. So, I mentioned at the end of the last episode I wanted to talk now about what workers do, because we're on episode 5 of the tutorial. Technically, I probably should have been talking about workers sooner, but it's all, again, about how you play the game. So, once you are in and playing Civilization 5 on your own, and you have momentum, and you understand the basics that I'm trying to lay down for you now, you can get workers as soon or as late as you would like. So we've built our first worker in Rome, and notice that when the worker is selected, there are a few little icons that are popping up over these tiles here. And it's saying that basically it's a recommendation from the game that you build a camp, very much like the city recommends where you can put, or I'm sorry, that when the game recommends where you can put a city, it is recommending where we can build certain tile improvements. The purpose of workers is to improve the tiles around cities that are worked by your city's citizens. So for instance, this tile, let's actually take a closer look at the production units, or we can do it another way. Let's pull up the yield icons. All right, so let's say this tile I think is actually currently being worked. Yes, it is, by a citizen, because we're on production focus, so it's important to the city to be producing as much of that as possible. So if I have my worker go here, and they build a mine, which they have the ability to do because we've researched mining, this tile all of a sudden will produce even more production than it already is putting out. If I have my worker go here and build a farm, this tile will suddenly produce more food. If I have my worker go here and build a lumber mill, it will suddenly produce more production. If I have them go here and build a camp, as it's recommending, either for the elephant or for the truffles here, then it will not only give us the bonuses that you've seen before, the gold bonuses, but you'll also get that happiness bonus from having the special resources. That's the purpose of a worker. Workers can also build roads between cities, which really help with your trade between cities. And also, when units are moving along roads, they actually do move faster. So we need to build a road at some point between Rome and Antium. But as we all know from the last episode, there is a bit of an issue right now because our empire is not happy. So we're going to go straight to the elephants. We only used one move to get there, so we still have the option to start building. Notice that constructing the camp is going to take 6 turns. It also tells you the recommendation for that tile as well. Now, one more thing I want to say about workers before I move on. If you don't want to control the workers manually, you can have your workers automatically improve tiles on their own. The only thing they won't do automatically is build roads, but you can have your workers automatically improve tiles if you'd rather not be doing it piece by piece. Similar to the way I move all of my game pieces, despite the fact that I could have them on auto explore, workers do have an auto improvements option. If you hit the A key with the worker selected, they will build improvements automatically. I did that a lot when I was a new player, but now I like to have exact control over what improvements I'm building and when. So there you go. That's how workers are. If you have any questions, leave a comment. So there we go. We've got the worker building a camp. It's going to take 6 turns. This unit here needs to finish off these barbarians, so we're going to take care of that. Done. We got 25 gold from that. And the city of Antium can fire on this barbarian, so those archers are no more. We have gems in our territory now too, so we definitely need to get that improved by a worker as soon as possible. When the pyramids finish building, assuming no one else beats us to it, which is why I was nervous, by the way, when I was thinking about building this settler first. When the pyramids finish being built, we will get 2 more workers right out of the blue. And workers will automatically build everything faster. So that's something to get excited about. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm going to bring this warrior down to Antium. It's going to take them a minute to get there, but I want to free my scout up, so my scout, as soon as possible, can go back up here and possibly explore those ruins and just start looking around the Europe area. Since it got that healing ability, it's got even more ability to explore and just be versatile and awesome now. So we're going to go to the next turn. Notice cities are growing very slowly because the empire is unhappy. Okay, there we go. That actually answers my question from the last episode. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. It was just giving the narrative for having research calendar. So it turns out, as long as you've researched all the technologies in a given era, it might actually be both, come to think of it. It might be that once you've researched all the technologies in a certain era, or when you research the first technology in the next era, you get to transition. Maybe it'll say. Nope, not really. Doesn't have a tooltip anywhere. That's fine. But either way, it makes sense. Hopefully it's understandable, the way transitioning through the eras works. We're just going to shoot at barbarians for as long as we can here. So now we can research a new technology. The first of our classical era technologies, now that we're in that period of history. We have lots of options. I'm going to go for optics because I want the ability to embark. That's the first one that I want. Okay. First things first, going to try and knock out these barbarians. These are barbarian hand axemen, so we just want to do away with them as soon as possible. But yes, I sincerely hope that no other civilization is trying to build the pyramids, because it might be a pretty close race at this moment. Since we built that settler first, it's a little bit tense. All right, those barbarians are almost gone. We also have some spices in our territory now, so plenty of resources to improve and get happiness from. Notice also that our borders kind of selectively expanded here towards this iron. They will do that when there's an important resource nearby that they know they kind of need to grab. These will give you extra production, but iron is also a very special type of special resources, just a very special type of resource. It's a special type of special resource. Just like horses, which we unlocked earlier. So I mentioned there are certain resource types that you actually get to uncover as you do research. These are the ones that are listed up here, and you have certain quantities of them. For instance, this is 6 iron, if you look at the tooltip, and that will give me the ability to build 6 units that use iron. All right, the trap has been completed around the elephants. Notice now we are happy again. Happiness has gone up by 4, as you would expect. So now I'm going to send them to one of the truffles, and happiness will go up again when that finishes. So that's very good news. We're no longer growing slowly. Rome will have a 4th citizen very soon, and Antium will have a 2nd citizen in about 5 turns. So that's good, and the pyramids will be completed in 9 turns. The really cool thing is we will probably be able to increase our production slightly because the 4th citizen will move towards one of the new areas. One of the areas that has production specifically. All right, these warriors are now in Antium. I'm going to move the scout up to the very tip of Roman territory so that it can be... Let me explain something very, very important about upgrades. This optics upgrade that I've been mentioning for several episodes now that allows land units to embark and cross water, that's going to let me go up north into Europe. Your units only receive upgrades like that, passive upgrades that you don't have to trigger, or actually any kind of upgrade, whether it's a passive upgrade or one that you press a button for, when they are in your territory. What I'm talking about when it comes to passive upgrades is these warriors will soon be at a point, they might actually already be at a point, where I can make them Roman legions. So I hit the upgrade button, and I have an instantly better unit. That's just a higher level. It's like the upgraded version of that. Or there's just ability upgrades like embarkation. So in any case, your unit has to be in territory. So let's say my scout was out of our territory when embarkation was researched. I would have to bring my scout to one of my tiles for just 1 turn and then send them back out and they'd be fine. That's how it works. All right, so we're going to keep going here. Moving pretty quickly. We're down to 1040 BC. Which reminds me, the next comment that I would want to respond to was a really, really good one that I got from Tornico, who kind of said, I kind of have to disagree with you on what you said in episode 1 about how changing the pace of the game to standard, epic, or marathon only changes the length of time that the game takes. He pointed out something that was absolutely correct and really interesting. The game actually does get much deeper and more robust in the later ages when you play on epic or marathon. So if you want to have hundreds of turn in every era when you get to, for instance, the modern era, the atomic era, and the information era, then you do want to play on the higher difficulty levels. If you really want to have a very, very detailed, rich experience in those ages, go ahead. I think the reason that I explained it the way that I did is, frankly, I wish that you could make the game do that for every single age. I would be thrilled. I'm the kind of gamer, I know that this is a very tall order and it's going to be a long time before it happens. we have the technology to make a game like this, but I would be so happy to have a game with the map detail of Total War and the army battle detail of Total War, but the historical richness of Civilization, where you start in the Stone Age and you can finish in the future. And I also would like a game that really lets you have a lot of time in each era and dedicated entire research trees to each era. But anyway, I digress. I think Tornico made a really good point with that particular comment, so I thank you for that, buddy. That was a really nice thing for you to leave, and I'm glad I was able to clarify that because of you. So just note that, yes, there is actually a difference when you select Epic or Marathon Speed. The end game, the final eras, are actually much longer and much more robust because much less time passes. As I mentioned earlier in the series, less time passes per turn the further you get in the game. So that effect just gets amplified when you're playing on the longer game difficulties, or the game speeds. So, all right, we're going to fortify that unit there in Rome. We're going to build the camp, which again is going to take 6 turns. We're 8 turns away from the pyramid being built, and I really do hope that when Rome grows in 1 turn soon, that number will drop. Let's see what happens. See if this number goes down by more than 1. Right now it's at 7. See if we get a production bonus. Nope. Okay. There we go. Okay, still going to take 6 turns to finish. Antium can fire on an enemy. Is that so? All right, there we go. All right, Rome has grown still. That's good. Notice that our happiness has gone down now that Rome has grown. Our happiness will go down again when Antium grows. So we're really going to need... All right, we're going to leave this scout here. 1 more turn until optics is researched, so I just skip the turn. I hit this button. You can also hit the space key if you just want to skip a unit for 1 turn. All you got to do is hit space, and you're done. That unit's finished healing, but I'm going to leave them there. We do not have the ability to upgrade them just yet, but I thought I would check that. The button would appear here if we did have the ability. Vatican City has completed its project. The amount of influence gained from gold gifts returns to normal. So that's just saying that they were giving me additional influence. I think I mentioned that a while back. I'm kind of worried that Vatican City might expand into the area of those ruins before long. Notice that their territory has actually leapt across the Mediterranean here. And we now have optics, so we're going to have the ability to build lighthouses in coastal cities. We, of course, don't have any coastal cities, but we can now embark. So get moving. 6 turns, and he will be up there in Europe. Research, what should we choose? Well, what's being recommended? Let's take a look at that. Economics advisor is recommending horseback riding. Military is recommending mathematics. And the foreign advisor is recommending construction. Not really clear why any of those matter to those particular advisors, but let's just have a look at what our options are. I'm going to go ahead and go for... There's actually a couple of different good options here. I'm going to go for construction because this will allow us to build lumber mills, which can increase production in our cities. Antium can once again fire on this unit, so that's taken care of. I just reminded myself, one thing that I would like to point out is a very nice feature of the game. Speaking of advice, if you are new to the game and you really are find yourself, playing the game and you've watched the tutorial and you've done what you can to learn, but you're still at a moment where you're like, I really need some advice, I don't know what to do. The advisors are actually more than just icons on your research list. They are. When you go to additional information, notice that the very first option here under additional information is advisor council. Check it out. Right now my economic advisor has 9 different pieces of advice for me. My science advisor has 4 different pieces of advice. Military advisor has 4 different pieces of advice. Just really, really awesome. Apparently my foreign advisor thinks we're doing great, which we are. We have a lot of culture building up, so not too much to advise there. We're actually doing great on all fronts, but maybe we don't have enough military built up yet, so the military advisor's like, there's things for you to do. But that's a great place for you to get some additional feedback from the game when necessary. And we're 3 turns away from finishing the pyramids. Cross your fingers, because this is going to be close. I have a feeling someone else is trying to build the pyramids right now. So, all right, so this barbarian unit is dead. This worker is done building those, is done with the truffles. I want to improve the gems, but the issue is that that's so close to my borders that I'm a little concerned with what could happen. I'm concerned with the barbarian coming in and kidnapping my worker, which is a real thing. So Instead, I've moved my worker back to Rome, and I'm going to give a very important order in the very next turn. We're going to build a road. Route 2 mode. Notice we now have this nice little tile selection tooltip, or cursor rather, not tooltip, cursor. And they've moved out to there, and they've started to build a road. So it's going to take 5 turns per tile to get down to Antium. This worker's going to be working for a bit, but again, in one more turn, assuming no one else is 1 turn away from building the pyramids, we are about to get 2 more workers. So we're in good shape. There we go. So we've built the pyramids. The pyramids are a Roman wonder in this version of history. It requires liberty, but we got liberty. Tile improvement construction speed is increased by 25%, and 2 workers appear near the city. So now, yeah, they're still 4 turns away from finishing it, but wow, we have a lot going on right now, actually. We can adopt an additional social policy, so I'm going to get my free settler, because that will also, as you recall, we are also getting certain cultural bonuses from being near all this forest. So if I send my settler out to colonize, say, this spot, I will get access to, let's see, I'm trying to space this out, because you can have cities every 4 tiles. So I don't know if I like that spot or that spot better. Yeah, let's do that spot. Alright, so we're going to send the settler there. I'm going to risk it and not send a military escort with the settler. Right, we're going to send this worker down to Antium and start building the road up from the other direction. And then, just because I want some extra income, I'll go ahead and send my final worker to start improving these truffles. Alright, so now in Rome, we could keep building wonders if we wanted to, but what I'm actually going to do is, just since we're about to found a new city, I'm going to build the... Well, actually, hang on. No, never mind. We're nowhere close to being able to purchase any buildings. Notice we can now build a settler in 7 turns because we got that really nice cultural policy. Not only is this a free settler, but settlers now train 50% faster. It's really, really nice. I don't know. I'm torn between the circus and the watermill. Let me go ahead and do the circus because it will give me a happiness bonus, and it'll just be a nice way to make sure I don't dip back below 0 while my happiness is so low. So Antium can now fire on an enemy, so let's take care of that. Hopefully my settler will not get kidnapped. They don't have to travel far. All right, we're going to construct a camp. Now pay attention to my income when this goes up. You'll notice happiness will not go up, but income will. This worker is making its way down towards Antium. We're going to start building the road up from Antium. Oh, crap. Crap, crap, crap. Well, that was terrible, terrible timing. Well, we're going to move that settler there across the river. There's no way that that axe unit can get that far, because that's 1 movement right there, but then to move across a river from here to here, that would actually cost 2 movement points. So that's just a way of protecting the settler. And I'll go ahead and move my archer out of Rome in order to actually facilitate the settler getting into position. Meanwhile, we'll try and kill off these archers here. See, this is one reason that it can be handy, and sometimes better, to have... Okay, Stonehenge has been built in a faraway land. That's the first time the AI has completed a wonder. Oh, wow. There's a lot going on here. Alright. Can I go ahead and fire on them? No, not yet, because we're in jungle tile. Alright, I think the city was going to be here, correct? So let's go ahead and move there, and then move the archers there as well. The settler's protected. The archer can fire. Very good. Die. Oh, yes, that's right. This archer is our scout archer, so he's ignoring terrain cost. So that was only 1 move, despite the fact that it was across the river, because that's my scout archer. And it looks like, yep, those ruins got explored, unfortunately. So now I'm just going to have my worker start poking around. Oh, wow. Okay, so we found a barbarian encampment. We found Singapore. So there's 2 city-states nearby, and those ruins did get explored. So this is Italy, the actual site of Rome. I have no choice but to briefly infringe upon a city-state's territory, so I just did that. I'm going to leave my worker be for one turn because I don't trust that unit there. Vatican City is... They're not mad at me, actually. I'm surprised they're not mad at me for being in their territory. But they're not. A religion has been founded. An unknown civilization has founded the new religion Catholicism. When we found a religion, I will explain that concept as completely as I can. Alright, so let's go ahead and see if we can chase off these barbarians, because they are standing on the exact spot where I want to found my city, so I can't do anything until they're dead, or in a different spot. I'm going to try and kill off those guys. Alright, still going to leave my worker alone. Alright. So we're now in the France area. Alright, please move somewhere. Just anywhere other than there. That would be perfectly... Yay, thank you. Appreciate that. Alright, we have finished the construction technology. We're going to move our archer into position here to protect the settler. We're going to go ahead and start the road, heading up from Antium. See, that is exactly why I didn't want to do anything with the worker. If the worker had gone there on the other side of the river and started building the road this direction, it would have been fine. And I could have... You don't have to use, by the way, the auto route mode. You can individually construct road on each tile the same way you can individually construct improvements. So you can have the roads be wherever you want. But I knew that if I did it automatically, there was a chance the worker would actually move toward the threat that was there a few turns ago. So, again, just that's why it's important sometimes to have manual control rather than the auto explore and the auto improvement options, because sometimes they just put themselves in horrible positions and you're like, really? Alright, so it looks like mathematics is overwhelmingly what we should do next. And I tend to agree. Mathematics is going to lead to two of the other... The last part of the classical era tree that we don't have access to researching yet. So... Oh, look! Ruins! So we're not completely out of luck. There are some ruins in England, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Perfect. So we founded the city of Cumae. We can also fire on these barbarians. And with this worker... Ooh, there's... Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and improve that silver right now. That's another happiness bonus. That'll come in very handy. Your survivors lost... You find survivors lost in the ruins. In gratitude, they settle in one of your cities, increasing its population. Well, that's good. Looks like Rome got a population increase. Thankfully, we'll get a circus in one turn. The population increase bonus from ruins is not always the best thing in the world. Because, you know, look, now our happiness is at 0. We're very close to a point where we will actually be in trouble happiness-wise. So, alright, let's fire on that unit. Okay, Antium has completed its granary, so now we're going to build a shrine. Produce some additional faith. And we're going to start building the granary in Cumae. And I hope that unit cannot get to my worker right now. Let's actually get this guy to bug out. Get away from that barbarian, because I don't want my workers to get kidnapped. And I just realized I'm running a little bit long with this episode, so I will go ahead and cut this one here, and we will continue exploring the Europe area, as well as expanding the early Roman Empire. It's now 650 BC, so we're flying through, and we've reached the classical age. We're almost to the, I think the medieval age is next? Yeah, so medieval age is coming up a little bit early, as often happens when you're making good progress in the game. But that just means that you're ahead and you're a very advanced civilization, so it's cool. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to upload new episodes in the tutorial every single day at noon Eastern Standard Time. That's GMT-4 for those of you not in the States. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you guys next episode.